everybody, welcome back. So what we talked about was with regards to getting the cart, receiving it, was excited about all that. Then we went from excited to, well, I guess, yeah, it was a range of emotions, so we'll just leave it at that. And we knew we were dealing with certain setbacks, but starting a business and everything is going to be filled with setbacks of one kind or another. And I think it's going to be able to separate out those that are going to be successful with their business undertaking and how they deal with those setbacks. So I was listening to other folks. I was explaining to them what happened and so on. But the thing was, it was more of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, another cliche, I get it. But the other thing too I wanted to, like I said, I had talked about was with regards to this logo that I use for Mike and the Mad Dogs and the person responsible for that. And once again, thanks, Ted. But now what it was a question of things were now coming together in some respects, and what I wanted to do was get this cart put together and step back, take a look at it, and get a better sense of where I was going to go with everything. I had been talking to other folks with regards to what would be a good venue where I could set up and get this business going. Now remember, mind you, through all of this, I still have a full-time job. I'm still doing my, end user support, IT, whatever you want to call it. Again, it's something, it's what I've known for the past 35 or plus years with regards to what I do for a living. So taking this whole, own business and especially breaking into the food business and it's not really like opening a restaurant, but you get it. So I wanted to play around with, and I'll show you some shots, some pictures of what the cart looked like, fully assembled, and what it was going to be like. And the other interesting thing about this is what I find to be not really funny, but it's kind of amusing, where this is a hot dog cart and you have to be able to get it from point A to point B or wherever you're going to set up. And in my case, my main, my everyday driver was a 2005 Mustang. And so what I'll do is I'll share a picture on what it looks like once I was all connected up, because that was a whole little adventure in itself, taking the Mustang to, actually I went to a U-Haul dealership because I had to have a trailer hitch put onto it. Now, who takes a 2005 Mustang and puts a trailer hitch on it to be able to tow a hot dog cart? Yeah, this guy, you're looking at him. But be that as it may, it was just what I needed to do to inch even that much closer to that point of where I'm going to open up for business, and that was coming along. And so we were going to look into the venues, and I was still looking for that. Again, I call it the elusive commissary, but I had gotten a bead on it's a commissary because what it is, they deal with primarily food trucks. So what it was a facility that was in the closer to Dallas area. It was pretty much actually right near Love Field, which is one of the airports out here. We have two of them. We have DFW Airport, and then we have Love Field. But that's, we're not here for a geography lesson or anything like that. The thing is that what it was, I met with the manager of this particular commissary, and the way it was set up is this is where food trucks would come and go. They would have a storage area where they could store their foods, be it frozen, refrigerated, what have you. It would also provide the ability to there where they would clean their trucks and do this and do that and do their daily day-to-day. And the other thing too overall was the kitchen, the common kitchen areas that were set up were inspected. Now, I was different because I had a hot dog cart, not a food truck. So that kind of threw a little wrinkle into everything, but not much. It was a question of, if you're going to operate in a particular municipality, so let's say you're going to do it in Allen, Texas, or in Frisco, or what have you. One of the things to be able to get a permit, what they want to know is that you are working out of a inspected, approved commissary. Make sure you're above board, everything's clean and everything's proper. And the way I worked it out was I would pay so much a month to be able to get that commissary letter. And that was the key, that commissary letter, to be able to display that and provide that to wherever I was going to set up shop. But that's really not something that would come into play once I started to work towards or work within the city of Plano, and that we will talk about in a few moments. But so here it is, got the cart, been working hard at it, had a co-worker from work come over and help. With the assembly, there was a section where you had to put one major piece, it's called the bread basket. It's where you would store your rolls and other things, and it had to sit on top of the cart. Within that was the hot water heater, which had to be, okay, a little complicated, a more than one person job. So Matt, if you're out there, thank you very much for coming by that day and helping me out. So we got that on, got it assembled, and now it was time to go ahead and connect it up to the Mustang and see what we're looking at and take it for a test ride, because 2005 Mustang, not really a vehicle built for towing. But then again, we weren't towing an RV or something like that. We were talking about 600, maybe 500, 600 pounds hot dog cart. And here's a picture of it here with me all set up and ready to go. And this would prove to be the way it was going to work for the next 2 years or so, as I pursued the gig that I was going to get within the city of Plano. But we'll talk about more of that when I come back. Okay, so what it was that I was checking within the various municipalities, and I was trying to stay closer to home, and by that I mean stay here within the city of Plano. So what it turns out was that the city of Plano, they pretty much will not allow a vendor, a food cart vendor, in my case, particular hot dog cart. They won't let you set up on a street corner. You can't go to downtown Plano or, anywhere within that and just, put your umbrella up and there you go. No, that wasn't going to happen. But with talking to certain individuals within the city of Plano town hall, it was a person working with the Parks and Recreation that we actually swapped a couple of emails, and it turns out that what they were looking to do with their softball league that they run at night, they wanted they were looking for a vendor. Now let me explain. The way it is out here in North Texas, well, in particular where I live here, there is a complex and baseball fields. Now what it is, there's 9 baseball fields. It is called Heritage Yards, and here's a picture of it here, their sign. And so there are 9 fields that are set up. And the way they structure it is softball games are played 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday. And they go from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. Interesting way they do it here is that they pretty much put you on a timer, and each game is an hour long. If you get done underneath the hour, that's it, all right? If you're still whatever, the game ends at the hour, and that's it. So 3 games a night, 9 fields, and 5 nights a week. So what they were looking to do was they wanted to see if they could locate a vendor, a food vendor of some sort, that could come out to the fields. And if they could commit to the 5 nights a week, that would be great. But they were looking for anything. They just had vending machines. They wanted something more. And that's really interesting that they wanted to do that. And they go, would you be interested? I said, sure, why not? This sounds great. Not far from my house. I don't live far from here. And all this stuff was starting to come together. And I was like, okay. So the next thing was to talk to the health department again, and with regards to how it works to get a permit, what it is they want. I needed to know their regulations of what they expected with regards to the hot dog cart. The one thing that was interesting about it, I didn't hear once the mention of the word commissary, but I did let them know that I had one. And they were like, yes, that's very good, thank you. But what they wanted, the whole thing, and I think in the previous video I talked about how I opted for, on my hot dog cart, to have the 4 sinks. Now, the sinks are they hold that more for the food trucks. 3 of the sinks are for washing and cleaning pots and pans and utensils and so on, and the last sink is reserved for hand washing. Well, I had my 4 sinks. They were happy with that. And so the way it was going to work is they have various permits. So this is a City of Plano run facility. So it was an event that they run 5 nights a week. So what it is, the way the permit works, you buy the permit for 14 days. And I remember at the time it was $75 for the permit for 14 days. Now remember, that's going to be 2 weeks. All right. On the weekends, I'm not going to be out there because there were no games being played. And so that's all well and good. So you pay the $75, you got your permit. In other words, you were approved. You were in their eye, you were the vendor. And the inspector would then come out one night, and usually it was the first night, I remember that very clearly, and he'd go over your cart and so on and everything, make sure the water, hot and cold, and I did have that on the cart, would run. They wanted to make sure this was, and they pretty much at their little clipboard, and they were checking things off, and they said, okay, everything looks good. And you had to have the permit, the actual printout, displayed so the public could see it. Not that people were coming up going, hey, where's your permit? I don't see your permit. No, it wasn't like that. But it was prominently displayed. Therefore, it satisfied that last regulation. They were happy. They walked away. I was in business. And that would be the beginning of a 2.5-year relationship with the City of Plano. All right, so when we get together next time, I'll talk more about what it was to get that first permit, to get out to Heritage Yards, get set up for the first time, how nervous I was, and how everything was to change with regards to my day-to-day life. It was going to be really interesting. So we'll see you next time on Mike and the Mad Dogs.